morning, ladies and gentlemen, or however else you identify. I don't want to make any assumptions. You can't assume anything, can you? I was walking down the street to get here. I walked past some young people. I didn't know whether they were non-binary or they just didn't care about their personal appearance. I didn't know. I walked past a woman. I didn't know if she was trans or just ugly. I don't know.
Try to make it easy for you. I've got some whiskers.
You've got some
whiskers, ginger like you too.
You've got some ginger whiskers.
Got ginger
whiskers. Are you trans? You identify as well?
No, I won't be trans.
No pronouns.
Geezer.
Geezer. Just one. I only have the one answer. Geezer. Sometimes I split it into 2 syllables. Gay/zer.
Yeah, just ginger, geezer.
Just a ginger geezer.
Yeah.
Ginger and geezer, they're your 2 pronouns.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'll have those as well then.
Yeah.
Good. It's off to a lively start, aren't we? Anyone wants to chip in, feel free. It's right. I mean, I did bring jokes with me, but that's it. I could come back another time with a joke. This is very nice. It's good to be. The old town is nice, isn't it? Not like the actual market. This is very nice. Thank you for welcoming me into your safe space. I'm going to say some truly diabolical things tonight at work or something.
Really done, mate. It happens a fair bit, mate.
Do you come here a lot?
No.
No, I'm not. I just once is enough after that.
I'm not a bloke, alright, okay? No, I'm not a bloke. No, I'm a saucepan today.
Oh, you got a bigger laugh, didn't you? They all heard that, and I didn't. And I missed out on the fucking. What did you say?
I'm going through all the utensils. I'm going to start.
Oh, you're going to start identifying as a saucepan?
Yeah, I haven't figured out how to make money out of that yet, but.
We'll monetise it somehow. Alright, good. Well, I'm not going to go around the room asking everybody at their programmes. I just assume I'm just going to look at you and judge you as I see there's a bit of a they them over there. And they're not quite fucking sure, just their pronouns blank for now, could be anything, fucking hell. In Swindon, you just don't know, do you? Fucking homeless / crack addict. I don't know. This is good. I'm led to believe a lot of comedians these days, it's traditional. They come on stage, they have to give an audience a little trigger warning before they start a lot of gigs, but I don't think I need to do that. I've had a look around the room. I don't think I can see any whiny, oversensitive, needy, histrionic, beggars and cunts. I don't think I can. So we just crack on. And I thought, I'll just jokes tonight. Well, I said I'm not actually going to tell any jokes. No jokes tonight. That's what I've decided. No, you can't. You can't tell jokes these days. It's a sort of bigotry, isn't it? It's sort of, no, it is a sort of bigotry. It's sort of abuse. I thought the first half we could just do some gentle breathing exercises. In the second half, we'll have an open but respectful discussion about colonial reparations. That's what we're going to do. That's the plan for tonight. And I don't want to offend anyone. But if you are offended, that's your fault, isn't it? Yeah. It's your fault. Offence is taken, not given. That's how it works, isn't it? So it's a you problem. But if you are offended, feel free to come up to me afterwards, and I'll explain to you just how much I don't care. You've got to have a thick skin. Tough times we live in. You've got to toughen up, haven't you? Like, I get abuse all the time. Because when I was younger, doing comedy, I did a bit of TV, and then I don't do that anymore. I get abuse from people. They say, you can't get on the BBC, can't get on the Channel 4 anymore. The truth is that I can get on those channels, but I don't want to work with paedophiles, so... found your level there, Swindon. Alright, yeah, you've got to have a tough skin, and we're all living in hard times, I think. We're all burned out, everyone's burned out, aren't they? We could all do with a extended break in a luxury hotel somewhere. The only question is, do you pay for it yourself or float up and down the Kent coastline in the rubber dinghies and claim the siren and let the British taxpayer foot the bill for you? That's what you're supposed to do these days.
You know what? I put my boat on the beach down in Dover and
You've got a boat?
yeah.
Down in
And
Dover?
I put a sign on the boat saying free fucking reparations back to France.
Free reparations back to France?
Yeah, trying to fucking throw them off.
Half that sentence made sense.
I drank half a bottle of rum.
What's your name? I like you.
Oh yeah, oh mate, Alice.
Alice?
Ginger ale.
I can see why you've got a drinking problem now. That's a tough name to carry around with you. How do you get a job past a job interview with that sort of name? Sit down and
I'm actually unemployed, mate.
unemployed. How do you afford a ticket with this then? Who's bought your ticket?
I'm a G.
I hope you haven't got a fucking discount. That's what I hard enough to make ends meet these days as it is without giving fucking discounts to the unemployed. Now, I'm not sure I want to know about it because it could put a real damper on his gig, to be honest with you. It could drag us down into that.
I'll try not to be the one, mate. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. Well, who are your friends you've come with? Who are your mates?
It's my brother, the sauce man.
Is that your brother?
Dodgy up.
Has he always done this?
Oh, mate, you don't even know.
No, just after half a bottle of rum.
Half a bottle of rum, yeah.
And with these two as well? You what? No, no. The couple sat the other side of you look absolutely terrible. If they could shift any closer that way. It's quite closely, isn't it? No, I'm very glad you came, mates. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm letting him on back.
I've no idea what you just said to me. That just sounded it's lively in Swindon, isn't it? There's a lot going on. And see how it goes tonight. I'm a bit rusty, to be honest with you. I haven't been doing a lot of this. Hopefully we'll have a good show. There's a fine line between success and failure. I think there's only 1 hour's difference between success and failure in life. That's what I've worked out. Like, if someone gets up at 5 o'clock every morning, they're an ambitious go-getter ready to throw themselves into the day, aren't they? But if someone gets up at 4 o'clock every morning, struggling with anxiety and depression, just 1 hour's difference. If any of you are depressed, they say you should talk to someone, don't they? That's what they say you should do. You're best talk to someone. There's 2 ways of going about that. You can either call a therapist, sit in front of them, talk to them, and then you've got to pay them. Or you can call yourself a comedian, stand in front of an audience, talk to them, and they've got to pay you. You know, it just depends how much you like money, doesn't it, really? But I try my best tonight. Things are changing, the world's changing. I don't really understand it. It confuses me. I know what's going on, but I don't understand it. I remember a time, quite recently, not long ago, when if someone was a cunt, you could call them a cunt, couldn't you? You could say, you're a bit of a cunt. And often they'd agree with you and say, John, you're right, I am a bit of a cunt. And you know, that was it. And then you'd move on with the conversation, get on with your lives. But these days, things have changed. If you say to someone, you're a bit of a cunt, you've got to spend the next hour listening to them cry about their autism diagnosis. It's nice to me. I don't really get out much, to be honest, anymore. I don't get many invites, and the invites I do get, I don't fucking want. I don't trust anyone. Very difficult to trust people. You can't trust anyone anymore, can you? You can't even trust Hugh Edwards. If you can't trust Hugh Edwards, UK sat there reading the news in his shirt and and tie and his jacket. He looks like it typifies propriety. And you can't fucking trust him. Who can you trust? 35 grand for naked pictures of some 17-year-old boy. Incidentally, he fucking overpaid, didn't he? 35. If you want naked pictures of 17-year-old boys, I'm sure you could get them for like a tenth of that. That's an awful lot of money. If my daughter was 17 and someone offered her 35 grand to take her clothes off, I said, whip them off. That's a deposit on a house, isn't it? Well, in Swindon, maybe not in the old town. 35 grand, and people getting upset, oh, it's destroyed his career. It hasn't. He'll get other opportunities, won't he, Hugh Edwards? As soon as he's out of this fucking hospital, they'll be offering him a presenting job on Channel 4's Naked Attraction. Perfect for that, isn't it? I don't know. It's difficult to trust people these days, isn't it? And I haven't done this for properly for a while, stand-up comedy, for about 4 years now, and it's partly my fault. The first 2 years weren't my fault. That was because of COVID. That wasn't my fault. I just did what I was told. I stayed at home wearing my face nappy, and I isolated myself from all my family and friends, and got my jibby jab like every other brain dead cunt. I did it. And I may regret it since, but it's a strange business, wasn't it? The old vaccine. This is voluntary. This is an optional thing. No, it's entirely optional, Andrew. Unless you want to go anywhere or do anything or see anyone or something. If anyone finds out you haven't had it, you'll be fucking crucified. But it's optional. It's entirely voluntary. And all right, but it's been thoroughly tested, has it? Well, as much as it could be in a very short space of time. It's been tested as much as it could be. There are no long-term side effects, are there? Well, that's a risk you take if you want to go anywhere or do anything or see anyone. If there are any long-term side effects, am I entitled to compensation if I get ill? No, absolutely not, Andrew. No chance of that. There's definitely a vaccine, is it? It's not some other nonsense. Well, actually, it's an experimental gene therapy. Well, fuck it, I'll give you 2 hours. I don't know. Yeah, so many things you weren't allowed to say. Well, then, you weren't allowed to say it was a lab leak. I mean, it's perfectly fucking obvious it was a lab leak. You weren't allowed to say that was racist, apparently. Somehow that was racist to suggest that COVID was a lab leak. So this COVID virus, coronavirus, let me get this straight. Where did it come from? It came from Wuhan, did it, in China? Yeah, that's right, that's where it came from, Wuhan. And also in China, there's an Institute of Virology, one of the world's biggest institutes of virology, where they study and manipulate coronaviruses. Is that right? Yeah, that's right, Andrew. This coronavirus wasn't a lab leak from that laboratory that studies coronaviruses. Is that? That's correct, Andrew. To suggest it might be is racist. Only racist. Where did it come from exactly, this coronavirus? Well, what happened was
1965, mate.
That was a perfect time to chip in with that, mate. That was it like building to a fucking punchline. I should explain how this works. The first half, it's just me doing jokes and that. And then the second half is me. A spare mic, not for you, you prick. The second half is me and my friend and guest, Leo Kurtz, who some of you all know, and we had a little chat, and then after we've had a little chat, we're going to open it up to a Q&A. Again, not for you. That's how it's going to work. I should have explained that at the start, shouldn't I? But anyway, in any case, you weren't allowed to say it was a lab leak, because that was racist apparently. But I've been to China when I was younger. The most racist people I've ever encountered. There's not a lot of diversity in China. I think, you know, they'd never seen a ginger man before. I was walking around Beijing, I might as well have been a fucking unicorn. I'm walking around, they're still probably taking pictures of me. I'm the fucking tourist, they're taking pictures. If you ask Chinese people what they think of white people, they say they all stink of dairy. That's what they say, we stink of dairy. It's true. You know, maybe we do stink of dairy, cheese and butter, yogurt, and milk, maybe we stink of dairy. Now, of course, China, quite densely populated place, for a lot of people don't have anything to eat. Do you know what they smell like? Communism. That's their... But we didn't get it. We didn't get it in my house, the COVID. The worst that happened was my daughter and my partner at the time got norovirus. Norovirus was very bad. They got it for about half a week. They're throwing up for about half a week. It was terrible for them. For me, it worked out quite well because that week I did save quite a lot of money on a big food shop. Here's how I know I'm a bad person. My partner was throwing up for 2 days solidly and lost a lot of weight, and then she started to recover, and there was a very unpleasant part of me thinking, it's a shame you couldn't have had that norovirus for another couple of days. Could have gone back to the same size you were when I met you. It's very unfair, because when I met her she was 11, so I don't know. I couldn't gig, there was no gigs during the pandemic, and then everything opened up. I did a few gigs here and there, and then I thought of a joke. I thought, I made myself laugh. It's very rare you make yourself laugh in life. I want to share that with the world, put a smile on people's face, you know, brighten up people's day. And I made a catastrophic error of judgment. I put it on Twitter. That's a very bad fucking idea. And, you know, it got jumbled around, taken out of context, misquoted, and the whole thing spiralled out of control. And the next day, next thing I knew, the Sun and the Daily Mail were calling me a racist. Very difficult to take seriously. It's a little bit like Gary Glitter calling her a paedophile, isn't it? The Daily Mail can't be throwing those sorts of accusations about their reputations and track records. But anyway, and subsequently I was placed on the naughty step by the comedy industry, where I have remained for the past 2 years. Because words have consequences. That's what they say, isn't it? The caring, compassionate, liberal left. Words have consequences, they say. Absolutely no awareness of how fascistic that sounds. You said the hurting words! The hurting words, the bad words cause hurting feelings! Words have consequences! Get on the train, get into the gas chamber! And the consequences of my words are that I am now the most woke, progressive comedian currently working in the UK. That's true. I'll tell you why. For the past 2 years, every other comedian's been travelling around the UK, travelling around the world doing gigs, whereas I've been stuck at home. So I now have the lowest carbon footprint. Embarrassingly low. Sometimes I do things just to ramp it up. I can't put my recycling in wrong bins, things like that. A lower carbon footprint than Greta fucking Thunberg at this stage. Where have you been this week, Greta? What country have you been in this week? How did you get there? Did you walk? Did you cycle? Did you cartwheel? No, you didn't. You're going to stand there and tell me about the carbon emissions and the climate change, are you? You putrid little fucking gremlin. So yes, you know, these are the times we live in. You know, you have to be very careful what you say. There's very, you know, the cultural narrative, don't we? There's 1,000 years white men have been in charge of everything and messed everything up. So now it's time for white men to take it to step back and shut the fuck up. And that's very difficult for me because. My livelihood literally depends on not shutting the fuck up. I find the less I shut the fuck up, the better I seem to do. I wake up every day, I think, I've got to pay some bills today, what can I not shut the fuck up about today? But I understand the old the cultural narrative, and I want to apologise. I want to apologise for my white male privilege. I'm aware of it. You know, I'm aware of the white male privilege, and I hope it's something we can look beyond and just have an enjoyable evening together. I'm fully aware there's a pasty, anemic, scrawny, 5'8", creepy face, squeaky voice, middle-aged ginger beta male. I have never, will never, could never know what it's like to be discriminated against. Obviously, you can imagine for me growing up ginger in the 90s was an absolute fucking fairy tale. It's fantastic. Tough time for white guys, and I'm very white. I'm incredibly, 9 months a year I'm translucent. The other 3 months I'm sunburned. That's very white. And tough time. Tell you how white and pasty I am. I used to get home late at night from gigs. Walk in the bedroom, my partner would wake up, see me, shit herself because she thought it was an apparition. That's how pasty I is. Tough time for white blokes. Tough time for ginger blokes. Things were going all right for the ginger men until Prince Harry came along. Until Prince Harry went off the rails, and then we started to slide down the social hierarchy. Somewhat. The only way things could get worse for ginger blokes at this stage is if Ed Sheeran turns out to be a nonce. That's the only way things can get any worse, I think. I feel bad for him, Prince Harry. The trouble is, he's got a hot wife. That's the problem, isn't it? I mean, you look at his wife, she's, I don't know, 7 or an 8, but she starts talking, instantly a 2. And then talk to her for more than 10-15 minutes, suddenly you turn gay. That's the powerful, isn't it? I can well imagine a 43-year-old man, lifelong heterosexual. I can imagine talking to Meghan Markle after about 10 minutes thinking to myself, I would sooner have a big fat hairy cock up my arse than listen to another word come out of your stupid fucking mouth. That's I couldn't get away with being, no problem with being gay, but I couldn't get away with it. I think with a cock up my arse, I just look like one of those little plastic trolls you sometimes get at the end of a pencil. I don't want to be unnecessarily cruel about Meghan Markle. She had a rough time. She had a podcast cancelled by Spotify, didn't she? Because they gave her $20 million to make a podcast, and it turns out it was shit. So they got rid of her after eight episodes. It's classic equality and diversity, that, isn't it? Imagine them sitting around in the boardroom at Spotify saying, so we're going to give Meghan Markle $20 million to make a podcast. Why are we going to do that? Is she a very experienced podcaster? No experience whatsoever. She's never done a podcast in her life. Is she incredibly popular? Not especially, no. She comes to you with some really good format ideas? No, none. And why are we giving her $20 million? Because she's a woman of colour. Oh, fucking give her 25. Let her have 25. And she's fine, The worst people in Prince Harry's life are his publishers, I think. Absolutely no duty of care to their client whatsoever. They let him publish that book where he gloats about killing 25 Taliban. I can only imagine he was telling them about his difficult childhood and they died of laughter. That's what happened. And at some point, he's been sat in a room with his publishers, and they've all read a manuscript of the book, and he sat there with them and he said, so, this bit where I talk about rubbing Elizabeth Arden cream into my frostbitten penis, and at the same time I'm talking about my dead mum. What do you think of that? That's great, Harry. That's great. That's fantastic. You'll probably use that in the marketing, to be fair. Don't think it's a little bit too much. Don't think it could backfire on me. Not at all, Harry. The penis, the Elizabeth Arden cream, the frostbitten penis, and dead mum. It's relatable. Jeremy Clarkson got in trouble, didn't he? He wrote an article in the Sun newspaper slagging off Meghan Markle in quite a sort of naughty, humorous way, and he got in trouble. Everyone went for him online, there was a big pile-on. Extraordinarily, he apologised. No one saw that coming. No one thought you'd hear that sort of thing from him. I'm so sorry about that article. That article I published, that was published in the Sun newspaper. Exactly the sort of article that gets published in the Sun every single fucking day. I'm so sorry about that article that I submitted to an editor for approval before publication. I'm so sorry about that article by me, Jeremy Clarkson, that I wrote in exactly the same style as I've been writing in for the past 30 fucking years. Several collections of my journalism have sat at the top of the Sunday Times bestseller list for months on end. I'm so sorry. None of you could possibly have known when you opened the Sun newspaper and read an article by me, Jeremy Clarkson, that you might stumble upon something vaguely objectionable. And then he lost his TV show on Amazon Prime. They cancelled his TV show over this, because they're very ethical people, Amazon. You can tell by the way they treat their warehouse staff. They're very ethical. Sometimes you see pictures of Jeff Bezos, the Amazon guy, the founder of Amazon, is jacked up on steroids, stood on a £500 million super yacht, surrounded by East European models, and you think to yourself, there is a man who's really kept his feet on the ground. There is a man who hasn't let success go to his head. And I don't know, yeah, so it's tough time for white blokes, ginger blokes, tough time for old blokes, isn't it? I think. 43, give me a cheer if you're older than 43. Yeah, you don't sound like you've got long left. If you don't think 43 is old, it's because you're older than 43. That's reality. Ginger men don't age well either. Every year that goes by, I look more and more like someone's trampled on a fish finger. For yourself, you think physically I'm deteriorating, but mentally I'm still as sharp as ever. That's what you tell yourself. It's not true. A load of blokes. Went for a dog walk the other day, got in the park, walked through the gates, realised I ain't got a dog with me. Started planning my funeral. I'm not going to have a decided waste of money, innit? Not waste money on a funeral. I've said to my family, just get a big metal bin, put it in the middle of the garden, tip me inside, set me on fire, just watch me burn. That's what I said. Once it's over, scoop all the ashes up, put them in an envelope, send them to HMRC. Because they've already had everything else out, they might as well have that too. That's all. Yeah, true answer. If someone put down there, someone might HMRC. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't enjoy anything anymore either, really. There's a few things I enjoy. I like to see a beautiful couple, like a beautiful woman, attractive man, step out of an expensive car, impeccably well dressed, dazzling smiles. That's what I like to see. And then out the back of the car, I like to see emerge two of the ugliest children you've ever seen. That's what I like to see. Beautiful people, ugly kids. Just makes me feel like there's some sort of balance in the universe. Nature is fundamentally fair and even-handed. That's what I like. I like a few things. I like to go on Facebook. I like to look up kids I went to school with. When I was a kid, used to make fun of me because I was ginger. I like to look them up and find out how many of them have gone bald. That's what I enjoy. There's a few things. I like to see a Bentley or like a brand new Range Rover Evoque broken down on a hard shoulder in the motorway. I quite enjoy that. I just like to see people who can afford a better car than I can having a shittier day than me. That's what I am. And I like to see homeless people. That cheers me up. I like to see just a homeless bloke sitting in a doorway, you know, looking in a real state. I like it. It's just a small path and think, well, my life's not going great, but this fucker. I give money as well, my pound. There you go, mate. It means absolutely nothing to me, to you. That's keep going for another night, won't it? Enjoy it. Let's get on the rubber's neck. Don't enjoy anything anymore. I don't know. Yes, I'll tell you who is old. My dad. Love my dad. I'll tell you how old my dad is. He's so old, he's dead. I love him. Love my dad. Miss my dad. He was a very generous man. When he died, he left me and my sister each £5,000 in his will. Very generous. Now, unfortunately, he didn't have that money in his bank account, so it was a nice gesture. He was a very generous man. He'd always give people his time. They didn't want it, but he forced it on them anyway. He was a big talker. Big talker, not a conversationalist. He didn't leave any gaps. There's no sort of interaction. It was just him talking. He just start talking, and he didn't know when he was going to stop. He just carry on, and eventually you just have to leave the room and leave into it. That's how some people have got the gift of the gab, haven't they? With him, it was a disability. That's it. I'd like to share with you a piece of wisdom that my father was generous enough to bestow upon me. Unfortunately, I can't, because around about the age of 14, I stopped listening. I didn't. Tough time for all white, ginger people. Focus on the positives. That's the important thing, isn't it? I've got a 7-year-old daughter. She's clever, beautiful, funny, to the extent that I'm not entirely sure she's mine. Genetically, it doesn't seem possible. I don't. She's tall, she's slim, incredible, insane appetite, constantly eating all the time, and extraordinary metabolism. She's either eating or shitting, sometimes both at the same time. The food shop's absolutely killing me, to the extent that I'm hoping when she's a teenager she goes through a brief patch of anorexia. Just that's the argument. 7-year-old daughter. For half the week, my 7-year-old daughter lives with me, and for the other half week, she lives with Satan. It's very childish of me, very unfair. No, she lives with her mum. You know, well, I'm not a big fan of Satan, but he doesn't deserve that sort of comparison. No, I get on very well. I don't 43. I don't want to date. It's not going to work out. You know, when you're 43, you don't want to be dating anyone. So I've got options. The options when you're 43 is you can go out. When you're a 43-year-old man, you can do the socially acceptable thing and go out with a woman your own age. And it's a wonderful evening, have a wonderful time, wonderful conversation, got a lot in common, it's fantastic. But she's 43, so I don't want to fuck her. Or I could do the socially frowned upon thing. I could go out with a 30-year-old. I want to fuck her. I don't want to listen to the shit coming out of her mouth. I could split the difference. I could go halfway. I could go out with someone who's 34 or 35, and that is the worst case scenario. It's an incredibly tense evening. You're sat there the whole time, and she's saying, when I was in school, I said focus on my career, I'm a family later. It was shit advice. I went into a way. I had a body accident. I'm gonna run in your arms, have a baby, kick you out, and make you pay child support. One hand she's got a receipt, in the other hand she's under the table milking you. I don't need it. I don't want it. And don't go on those dating apps. They're mental, crazy, mental. Those dating apps don't go anywhere near them. I went on one of my darker moments. I'm scrolling through. I settled on one profile. It's a lady, she's 40. She's got 2 kids, 3 cats. She's not making a lot of effort with the photos, to be honest with you. It's fine. It's fine. It's slightly overweight and quite greasy hair, and both her eyes point slightly different directions. There's some sort of vest top. It's got bean juice or something down there. That's all fine. Either she took the photos while she was on holiday, or she lives in a caravan. It's all fine. None of it's a problem. But then I read what she written in her profile. She said, I want a 6 foot 2 alpha male with a good job, nice house, nice car, ready for long-term commitment and marriage. Wow. I sent her a message. I said, I want to play centre midfield for Real Madrid or Barcelona. Well, I just got a feeling the both will end up with fuck all. I don't know. Focus on the positives. I'm not quite sure how to put this. At 43, I feel like I've gone through some sort of strange, going through some sort of strange, peculiar, I don't know how to put it, some sort of male menopause. I'll tell you what I mean by that. From the age of about 14 to 41, 42, I had a constant voice in my head all the time, relentless. It was irritating. Fuck someone, Andrew! Fuck someone! Fuck someone! When was the last time you fucked someone? Fuck someone, Andrew! It's not any other way, Andrew! Fuck someone! Fuck someone! My voice has gone now. It's gone. This is a tremendous amount. And if there are any older men in here, trust me, it does go on. Just bear with for the timing. But it's been replaced by another voice now, a different voice. It says different things like, have a bath, Andrew. Have a bath. Have a nice hot bath. You've been working hard all morning, you've earned it. Just say, have a nice hot bath. Show what this front room could do with Andrew. Scatter cushions. Maybe feature more, Andrew. Brighten the place up a bit. Come on.
Get the other voice back.
Get the other voice back. No. I told either of them. They can both go. But you know, try and focus on the positive. That's what I'm trying to do. And that's why, no jokes tonight. No jokes. I don't want to ruin everyone's evening. Do you know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, 100 people in a room, if 99 of them are laughing, and there's one of them sat at the back of the room crying their eyes out, as far as I'm concerned, I've committed a hate crime. If there's any justice in the world, the police will turn up, drag me away, lock me up, throw away the key. They won't do that, of course, because they're far too busy with their equality and diversity training. They work very hard, the police. They do, they get a lot of criticism of the police. They work very hard, but just unfortunately not doing any actual policing. That's the problem, isn't it? You phone them up and say, hello, is that police? I'm in vibrant East London. Someone's just dragged me out of my car and they're waving a machete in my face. Do you think you could help? Well, at the moment, so I'm currently dancing the Macarena at a pride march. All our patrol vehicles are in the garage at the moment having rainbow spray painted on them. Hello, is that the police? There's a grooming gang operating in my area and I'm worried about the safety of vulnerable young people. Do you think you could investigate? I'm afraid not, sir. Currently it's a Just Stop Oil protest. We're just going around offering people cups of tea and seeing if they want a vegan muffin or maybe some therapy. Just can't trust the police, can you? Can't trust anyone. Trust anyone to do anything these days. Can't trust the people that are selling us the food we eat. For years they've been lying to us, for decades they've been lying to us about food, and slowly they've come to realise they've been telling us a load of lies, talking shit. Don't eat meat, don't eat meat, don't eat dairy, don't eat that natural stuff, cholesterol, don't eat that stuff that your ancestors have been eating for millions of years, don't eat that, God. Oh, you don't want that. Here, have this chemically engineered shit we manufacture in a laboratory. It's full of E numbers and soy protein and pea protein and seed oils and microplastics. Have it once a week for the next 10 years, it'll give you colon cancer. And the best news is it's fat-free. Everyone constantly eating shit all the time, and then of course we have the drinking culture in this country where you get to age of 16 and if you're not drinking alcohol you're a social pariah. Basically, the only country in the world where you're not drinking, you're on a night out with people, you're giving every single one of them a fucking lift home, and they still think you're a cunt. It's the only well, that happened, and everyone's drinking to excess, eating shit, and leave school, and then got people in a fucking cubicle doing a sedentary job, and they can't sleep at night because of the cost of living crisis. No one can pay their bills. Everyone's getting shit sleep patterns and sedentary lifestyle, shit diet, and alcohol. And they wake up one day, think, I feel fucking dreadful. They go to the doctor, and they say, well, put over the phone. They say to the doctor, I feel awful, I feel terrible. And say, oh yeah, that's clinical depression, that is, you need these pills, have these pills. You sure it's not because of bad lifestyle choices driven by social pressures? No, it's a chemical imbalance in your brain. You need these special pills, mate. Oh, they're addictive, yeah, they're terribly addictive. That's why we sell so many of them. Motherfucking These are like cravings, you know, we can't fucking stop. There's a problem by the door. If you come in the surgery, take some on the way out. Of course, every few weeks, of course, there's a new headline in the newspapers. NHS in crisis. Well, fuck me, what a surprise. How did that happen? It's an existential crisis, the NHS crisis, isn't it? No one's seen a GP for about 4 years now. No one's quite sure if they still fucking exist. You've got no chance of seeing a mythical beast, have you? Phone up the doctor's surgery. Can I have a face-to-face appointment with the doctor? I'm afraid not, but if you come into the surgery, you've got a crack and you can have a look at. Say what you like about Harold Shipman, but at least he give you a face-to-face appointment. But of course you can't criticise the NHS, can you? It's a religion for people, certain sorts of people. It's all they've got left, isn't it? The NHS, the fucking socialist dream, that's all they've got left. My grandmother and my grandfather both passed away last year, and they both received fantastic care from the NHS. Well, can't have been that good, can it? Because they're both fucking dead. Can't trust anyone. Can't rely on anyone. The people you used to respect, you can't respect anymore, can you? David Attenborough, you used to be able to respect David Attenborough, because there was a time when all he wanted to do was tell you about the animals. You come on TV, he'd tell you about the animals. Oh, what a nice man. But that wasn't enough for him after a while, was it? He'd have to push his fucking agenda on you after a little while. And he watched his programmes now. Here we have the snow leopard, majestic and intimidating. He roams the mountains of Central Asia, stalking his prey. He'll be gone soon. All the snow leopards will be gone, it's your fault. And the sea turtles. It's your fault because you didn't replace your gas boiler with a heat pump. It's your fault. All the animals will be gone, the planet's on fire, it's your fault. It's your fault. Join me next week for some more alarmism. Can't trust anyone. Gary Lineker, used to be able to respect Gary Lineker. He used to be happy just scoring goals, playing football, scoring goals, and he used to be happy selling crisps. He used to be happy just presenting the football highlights, but at some point that wasn't enough for him, was it? Wasn't enough for him. He had to push his fucking agenda on us all, didn't he? He had to go on Twitter, with all his following, millions of people on Twitter, and then tell them every day how much he cares about the refugees. So he goes on Twitter, tell everyone how much he cares about the refugees. Why is it so important to him to signal his virtue every single day, these millions of strangers? Why does he need millions of strangers for him to think that he's a good person, he's a decent human being? Who has he fucking killed? Who's Gary Lineker married? That's what I want to know. And of course he went out to Qatar to host the World Cup in Qatar. And he didn't do it for the money. He didn't. He went out to draw attention to human rights abuses. Did he get paid a fuckload of money? Yes, he did. He went out to highlight human rights abuses in Qatar. And of course the whole tournament, the World Cup in Qatar, was all about gay rights. Gay rights in Qatar. Took over the whole tournament. Gay rights. Because in Qatar, if you're found out to be gay, you're sent to prison. It's awful, but, you know, they should fucking move. If it was me, if I'm living somewhere where people don't like me for who I am, I'll fucking move. I lived in Scotland for 4 years, they hate English people. Whatever you want to do in this world, in life, there's places where you can live where they'll let you get away with it. Like, if I wanted to molest children, I'll go and live in the Vatican. Or England. If you are gay, more power to you. It's an incredibly brave thing to do, to live your life on your own terms, and come out and be open about it and say, no, this is me, this is who I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to do, deal with it. And enormous respect for you for having the bravery to do that. But also, you know, what are you contributing? This is what I want. Because I know what the heterosexual people are contributing. We're propagating the species, aren't we? We're keeping humanity going, and we're busy raising the children. I don't know what you do with your time, the gay people, apart from pissing about in spangly hot pants. But the heterosexual, we're propagating the species, we're ensuring the survival of humanity. That's what we're doing. Even the gay people, you wouldn't exist without heterosexual parents, would you? You know, your parents had to be, you know, have a go on each other just for you to and maybe they were gay, I don't know, but nevertheless, through heterosexual activity, you came. So all I'm saying is, you know, all power to you, but in the grand scheme of things, evolutionarily speaking, not very important. That's all. You know, it was all about gay rights, wasn't it? And then the year before that, the European Championships in England was all about racism. It was all about how racist English football fans were, how racist England is, and they're all about BLM, and all the pundits were talking about going off on a diatribe about racism and football, slogans flashed up on the screen every 5 minutes, hey, won't win, and all the players, football players taking a knee for BLM, and you get people saying, well, they weren't taking a knee for BLM, Andrew, they were taking a knee to protest against racism in football. Well, they may well have been taking a knee to protest against racism in football, but unfortunately, that taking a knee gesture is inextricably linked with BLM. I mean, I could give a Nazi salute in support of animal welfare. Well, we've got nothing at all other than the fact they're an organisation fraudulently raised millions of dollars over the internet, siphoned off a load of that money, gave it to their families to buy expensive luxury domestic properties with. Apart from that, I think they're good people. You know, I think it's awful what happened to George Floyd. I think it's tragic when career criminals die. I think it was about racism and how racist we all are until it wasn't. Until the final of the tournament, England played Italy, and it was a draw, and it went to a penalty shootout, and the England manager, Gareth Southgate, selected 5 players to take penalties, and the first 2 that he selected were white, and they stepped up and they scored their penalties, and the last 3 that he selected were black and mixed race, and they stepped up and they all missed their penalties quite badly, and suddenly no one wanted to talk about race anymore. Suddenly it was the elephant in the room, it was a taboo, it was completely off the table, it was awkward, all the pundits completely avoiding the subject for the first time in the entire fucking tournament. You call me a sick bastard, I found that quite funny. And most comedians have better instincts for self-preservation than I have. On Twitter. And this was all I wrote. I wrote, all I'm saying is, the white guy scored. That's it. That was it. And of course, this travelled around Twitter. Some faux liberals pretended to be outraged about this, and they shared it with their faux liberal friends so they could pretend to be outraged about it all. And they all sent me messages telling me I was a racist and I needed to take it down. Being an arrogant little ginger bastard, I doubled down on the whole thing. And I wrote a second tweet in which I embedded the original tweet, and I said, I could see that this has upset some of you, and I just want to say sorry. Sorry that black guys are bad at penalties. And within a few hours, 30, 40 tour dates had been pulled. My agent had dropped me from his roster, and a 17-year career in stand-up comedy at the time came to a grinding fucking halt. And, you know, cancel culture doesn't exist, does it? You know, I've called this show, and after that, the day after that happened, a Sun journalist turned up on my recently widowed mother's doorstep and asked to speak to my father about what I put on Twitter. I just wish she'd said to him, "You can try the graveyard, good luck, but you need to be fucking clairvoyant." And the day after that, a Sun journalist knocked on my door at 7:30 at night when I was putting my daughter to bed. Quite horrible stuff. Really, I've called this show I Forgive You, because I wanted to think of a title that was really great. The people that did this to me, the caring, compassionate, faux liberals, because it's the one thing they're not fucking capable of, is it? Forgiveness. They can't forgive. They cancel you for nothing, for some trumped up, invented, fabricated fucking reason. And then even 2 years later, when I tried to book these tour dates, they came for me again, and I lost a few of them because they don't fucking forgive. They don't leave you alone, even when you've done nothing wrong. So I wanted to a title that would really piss them off. I don't watch an awful lot of sports, but I'm going to tell you who my sporting hero is before we take a little break. My sporting hero is Novak Djokovic. Player, not necessarily for sporting reasons. I'll tell you why he's my hero, and some of you will already know. Because at the height of the pandemic, when the vaccine had just come out, he went to the Australian Open, Novak Djokovic, and he decided that he wasn't going to have the vaccine because he's a professional sportsman and his livelihood and job depends on him being in peak physical condition, and he didn't feel like he wanted to trusted the vaccine to be something that he took, so he didn't have it. And he got to the Australian Open, and he was treated like a criminal. He was under police guard in his hotel room, and he wasn't allowed to compete in the Australian Open, and he was pressured into getting the vaccine. Eventually he was deported from Australia, horrendous treatment. And then for a long time he was banned from competing in other tournaments. And of course when you're playing at the highest level of professional sport like that, if you're banned from competing, your level drops off. Who knows whether you'll ever achieve that level of performance or competition again. And a year later, he went back to the Australian Open. He was invited to come out again. This time, he was allowed to compete, despite not having had the vaccine. And he won the tournament. And at the end, he was stood there, holding the trophy, with a big shit-eating grin on his face. As if to say, you don't fucking win. I win. I fucking win. And that's why I feel a little bit like that, you know, because I haven't been allowed to gig for 2 years, and yet here I am, back in Swindon. So we're going to have a little interval, and after that I'm going to bring the fantastic Leo Kurz on stage, who you might know. He's a brilliant stand-up comedian, but also a regular host on headliners on GB News, so many of you may have come to see him, so I'm looking forward to that. So we'll have a little interval, it'll be about 15-20 minutes, and I'll see you back here. Thank you.
Right.
course. Yeah.
Welcome back. Did you have a nice interval? Yeah. Sounds thoroughly unimpressed. You know, the managed to get served. Well, a few people, not many though, they've done a pretty good job to be fair. You know, you should have barged your way to the front, it's your own thing really. Well done for coming back. I appreciate it. It's well done for coming out. It always surprised me. I just hate going out. People say, oh, it's nice to get out of the house. I think your house must be shit. It's just a nice gig. I've been here a few times in Swindon. So it's just a lovely room. The best rooms for comedy, I don't know if you know this, are actually nursing homes. Did you know that? No, it's true, because it doesn't matter how funny you are, there's always someone sat there pissing themselves. So, as promised, in the second half, I'm going to be having a chat with a very funny comedian and GB News headliners host Leo Kirst. But as an extra treat, he said he's going to do a little bit of stand-up for you, which is fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. And there's no mic stand because we set it up for a chat, but I'm sure we'll manage. And it's going to be brilliant. I haven't seen him for a while. He's a very, very funny man. So please welcome to the stage with a fantastically enthusiastic round of applause.
I'm from Scotland, in case you're wondering why I can't understand noise coming out of my face. We've got any Scottish people around today? Oh, dude, we've got about three. That's enough to start a fight. That's great. What brings you to Swindon? Is it aggressive begging? What appearance? It's just good to see them spending money. That is progress. That's what I want to see. Scottish people these days. I'm not even that Scottish, to be honest. Like, my parents are from England, and what happened was in the 70s they sold their house in Notting Hill for about £20,000. And they moved to Scotland because in the 70s for £20,000 you could buy Scotland. And they didn't want me to become a millionaire. So, moved up there, and kids, because we're born in Scotland, we got these sort of daft Scottish accents, you know what I mean? But still got English, stupid hippie English names. I'm called Leo, you know what I mean? You know, after my star sign. All my mates at school had proper Scottish names like Gordon, Shuku, Duku. Like someone just noises like I had to go to school in Scotland being called my brother had it once, he's called Sagittarius. He's not really, he's called Talbot, but that's still a bit of a wanky name. So yeah, I moved back down to London. As soon as I could get the megabus, I moved back down to England. I love it down here. The food in England is amazing. In London it's brilliant. You've got all sorts of food from all over the world. You've got like Indian, you've got Chinese. Probably some other kinds as well. The food in Scotland is shite. It's just based around getting a lump of carbohydrate and frying it until it's definitely dead. Have you guys been to Scotland? Yeah. Do you have a nice time? Yeah. Must have taken sandwiches. Scottish food, some of the stuff we do. Well, I'm not talking about like deep fried Mars bar. That is the best way to eat a Mars bar. That is the only way you can improve a Mars bar. Don't ever steam a Mars bar if you're on a diet. But some of the other stuff we do, like a deep fried pizza. I don't know if you've seen this. Basically, what we do is we get a shitty supermarket pizza. We put cooked chips on top of it. We fold it in half and seal it, so you've got a sort of chip calzone. And deep fry it. And it's served with? Chips! It's not even a sprig of parsley on this thing. Man, that's why I got to take so much heroin in Scotland. Just to make an acceptable level. It's a very slim and drunk. Get out free in the NHS. But, yeah, talking of injections, how was your pandemic? Did you have a good one? Yeah. Scotland had a fantastic pandemic. Like, the average age of coronavirus victims in Scotland is actually older than the average life expectancy. That is mental. That means people are living longer in Scotland if they get coronavirus. In Scotland, coronavirus isn't a disease, it's an antioxidant. You know what I mean? Scottish bodies, like, when they get coronavirus, they're just like, what is this? Is this fibre? Only normal source of fibre in a Scottish person's diet is from accidentally eating some paper with a kebab, you know? I thought the NHS did well in the pandemic. We got any NHS workers in here tonight? Nice, we got one or two. Let's give them a round of applause. They like that sort of thing. We're taking that applause back if you're not front line. If you were just like working at a laptop in your living room through the pandemic, you know what I mean, still scooting the queue at Tesco with your pass, getting buses of flowers. Now, you front line? Yeah. What sort of stuff do you do in the front line? I thought you did great in the pandemic, you know, fair play to you, like keeping everybody safe and stuff. I still prefer private medical care though, like, no offence. I know NHS is great, it covers everybody, it works out cheaper and more efficient and stuff, but I prefer private medical care because you don't have to be grateful. Coming and clapping every Thursday like, oh thank you NHS, thank you for doing the jobs you willingly chose to do in return for money, like every other job, you know what I mean? Banging pots and pans together. You know how many frying pan handles are like through this pandemic? Not in the hospital every 2 weeks, not with coronavirus, with burnt hands from trying to flip a pancake. Man, we don't do that for any other service. We're not out on a Wednesday, like clapping like, oh thank you Talk Internet for a remarkably stable broadband connection. Thank you Pornhub for a steady Pornhub a bit of niche over the pandemic as well. A lot of time in the house, you know. Now the only other people who get clapped for fulfilling their basic job obligations is Ryanair when the plane is. No, I think in both cases it's because we're total scumbags and we drastically overpay for a service and we are just amazed to be alive. There's no way a £5.99 flight to Lanzarote should land anywhere near the fucking tarmac. This is just break up on the Atlantic. We're all scattering in the sea. Family goodbye because you haven't paid £4 extra to sit next to us. Those Ryanair scumbags, you get to check it and they're like, do you want to sit next to each other? And it's like, why can't we sit next to each other? We're getting on the same plane. And they're like, no, unless you give us £4 extra each, we're going to move you around in the little seat and chat. We're a bunch of cunts. You're getting any extra service for that £4. You're literally just bribing someone to not be a dick. That's like if you went to the bar here and you said, can I have a pint of lager please? And the barman's like, certainly sir, that'll be £4 or fucking £8 if you don't want me to dip my balls in it. So if you're in England, that'll be £17. What about face masks? Did you wear face masks? I didn't wear a face mask either because I'm actually exempt. Because if you say you're exempt, you don't have to wear a face mask. That's literally the system. What an amazing system! Everything was like that, man. Like, can I see your driver's license? I'm exempt. Why aren't you wearing any trousers? I'm exempt. Well, can you move away from the playground, please? I got stopped by this policeman at Euston Station in London. He's like, excuse me, sir, where's your face mask? I was like, I'm exempt. But then I thought, it's a policeman, I better give a reason. So I said, I'm exempt because masks give me anxiety. Because anxiety is a thing that's got to be eliminated now for some reason. It used to be a valid emotion that was useful to feel because it might stop you jumping into the sea with sharks or putting your fucking prize or an email signature. Got an email this week from somebody called Brian, and at the bottom we got brackets, he/him. It's like, you're called Brian? Oh, picture of me, you got a beard. It's so well, Brian, but already worked out in my head. You know what I mean? Pick your pronouns aren't for you, you're for other people to describe you or whatever. You know what I mean? The option is whatever pronouns you pick or that cunt, you know? It's like trying to pick your own nickname. It's like, oh, henceforth I want to be known as Billy Loads of Money, Big Willie. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you're called Billy Shitfingers. When you're at school, you've got shit in your fingers. Remember. I'm getting away from the point. This policeman stops me. He's like, excuse me, sir, where's your face mask? I was like, I'm exempt, mask giving me anxiety. And he's like, well, where's the landlord saying that? I was like, landlord's giving me anxiety. Alright, I'd like to welcome back. I think this is what we're doing now. I'm just going to come on and we're going to chat about stuff. So thanks for listening to me.
It's very funny stuff. And so, do you do? Because I'm used to seeing you on GBUs all the time.
Why are you sitting like a groovy support teacher?
So I think, how has he got any time to be out there doing stand-up? You clearly are, because you're sharp and on form. But do you get a chance to do much gigging?
I don't do that many gigs anymore, so sorry.
Yeah.
Scandal. Because you're crushing one of the testicles, but
shrivel up little Jimmy.
Patch of rough skin on my hip, and like, no, this is good. I get eczema and stuff, but then it was getting bigger and bigger, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And like, I googled it, and then I instantly convinced myself I had skin cancer and other things. But then eventually, I worked out it was handcuffs when I masturbate.
How do you get bumper cover at GB?
Yeah, but unfortunately Nick Dixon takes all the quota for everybody there. He closes us like 25 minutes with something else he's googled. So, I should use that. Like, I should wait till, like, you know. I've got to stop it. Look at my leg. Look at my leg. Can you see my leg? Community.
This is going to change this show now, because second half I was going to address people's various mental health.
There's no reenactment of that scene in Jaws. Actually, because NHS fixed it, but I reckon Bupa could give me like a brand, like some sort of fucking Norwegian perfect leg, you know?
They do something. I'll tell you what, BBC straight away if you're ticking all sorts of boxes. So what was going? So you're not doing a club gigs at all?
Yeah, I'm not doing so much live comedy because I was supposed to be doing a tour this year with the Bound and Gag, the promoters, but they book in a lot of tours, so they just want it to be easy, they don't want it to be hassle. But loads of their venues that they normally just slot people in just were saying no, we can't have him because he's transphobic, he's racist, he's homophobic, he's misogynist, and it's different because I'm saying it and people laugh, and it didn't work. So they pulled my tour, but I also had a baby, so I don't really want to be.
No, quite right. But which ridiculous, really, that they do that because you've never really had any trouble in this country, that sort of thing. When you were in Australia and you got a bit of pushback, didn't you?
Yeah, I got cancelled from my venue in Australia, so I took the show Right Wing Comedian out there, and obviously, man, calling the show Right Wing Comedian in the world of comedy is a bit of a red flag to comedians. A lot of them got really pissed off about it because they're all for diversity and tolerance, but not when it's diversity of opinion. Tolerating the political opinions of more than 50% of the electorate.
I don't know. I think we're hard on diversity. I think sometimes it can be a good thing, can't it? Like the BBC are quite in favour of diversity, and that's a good thing. They could do with the diversity of people who aren't nonsense working there. There is a lot of that about. But what happened? What went on in Australia? What did people pick? You were doing a show out there, and they.
Yeah, so people were digging back through my Twitter to find something I'd said that they could get me cancelled for, offence archaeologists, revealing layers of sediment to find the outline of a Roman homophobic slur. So they did that to me, and they went on my Twitter and they went all the way back to that afternoon. It was literally the most recent thing I'd posted on my stand-up, and in the clip I was talking about the differences in transitioning between men and women, and how women have got it much easier. That's why all the controversy and stuff isn't about women transitioning to men. Cause for a woman to transition to being a man, a lot of cases she just stops shaving. She might have to take hormones, that's it. People will look at her and be like, I think that man's got tits. There's no problem. What's for a man to transition to being a woman? It's a totally different story. You've got to take hormones, you've got to undergo extensive surgical procedures, you've got to shave down your brow and your jawbone, you've got to disguise your male part and baldness, have your Adam's apple out, you've got to get tits put in, you've got to get all your body hair out, you've got to learn to walk in size 15 high-heel shoes. Got to learn. I've seen some films where they don't. Stuff you got to go through before you're convinced it's a woman. After all that pain and expense and hassle, people are just going to look at you and go, I think that man's got tits. And people say that bit of material was transphobic, and it's not entirely transphobic. I looked at my transgender lassie I was dating, because I was woke before it was actually woke. As soon as it became woke, I stopped doing it. But she looked it with me, and she's one of the hot ones, obviously. You're sort of doing right types. Nobody gives a shit. She's going to take a shit anyway. You know what I mean? It's the longer ones that are like, I'm going to come in and get cheesy.
It amazes me that it happened, because this was a while ago that happened.
Yeah.
So what was it, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, that was 2000 and it must have been 2017 or something.
When it wasn't as much of an issue, now it's a fucking huge issue, and I tell you can't, it's such a toxic issue, isn't it? There's so much rancor between biological women and trans women. There should be, it's all very clear cut, you know, they're different, and anyone who says otherwise is fucking mental. Of course they're different. Trans women don't have periods, they can't have kids, and I don't want to fuck them. That's my after 2 fairly disastrous long-term relationships, I don't really want to fuck biological women. It's extraordinary.
If you're going to get a blowjob of Blair White or, I don't know, Sandy Toksvig.
I feel like they both have quite a lot of work on their hands.
They wouldn't be doing it at the same time. Yes, I mean, I think it depends on the situation.
At the age of 43, it doesn't really matter who's doing it. So most of my, it used to be I wake up and there's a fucking temple. Most of me is I wake up now, I have to poke around see if it's still fucking around. But you know, it's a good question. I probably would rather be involved with White than some of the toxic. You all know who these people are. Do you know who Blair White? She's a male to female transsexual who's done it very well. So you're on GBUs all the time, so what's Dan Whitten been up to? That's what I'm. He comes across a little bit. There's something about him. There's not up to something.
I've no idea. Like I've gone and the thing that came out in the Byline Times. I used to work with a guy who wrote it, Tom Latcham, but it was all conjecture. It was all well, first off, there was a mad person who's been to jail for blackmailing gay men, I believe. Okay. Well, it's not a most reliable witness. And there was a sort of pissy ex-boyfriend who was all like, made all these accusations, but there's no proof, and even if, the things he's talking about exist, it's like, what's the connection with that? They're like, my wife's a barrister, and she looked at it, she said, this is just a load of shit, none of this would stand up in court. Yeah. And other stuff, like some Big Brother, celebrity Big Brother contestants, or just regular Big Brother contestants were like, he didn't treat me with the gravitas to which I feel I deserve. It's like, you're a fucking Big Brother contestant. Actually, sort of people traded through the town, like getting wine off a donkey, getting I don't know, the timing of it as well, so soon after the Hugh Edwards stuff, it always stank to me, it smelled a bit fishy.
It was a little bit tit for tat. But it did feel like the shit was going to hit the fan with Darrington, but then luckily Coots fucked over Nigel Farage, and Farage really fucking went for the market woman, which I don't know how they expected otherwise. Wow, the height of fucking arrogance, isn't it? Has anyone here been debanked for something? No one.
But a few people have, he ain't the first.
It happens, that's right, he's not the first.
Know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of lower profile people who didn't have the platform they had for fucking calling it out.
Well, I think the way you can protect yourself from it is just stay overdrawn. Some of Coach stuff. I wanted to see the reaction from, because it is a human rights issue, like Article 23 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights says everybody has the right to, be able to work and blah, 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 get, normal treatment in the workplace, but also the right to get paid for that work. Like, so you can't, because Farage went to like 9 other banks or 10 other banks and they all said no. So he can't get a bank account, he can't get paid for the work that he does. It's also having to trigger monetary, it's having to reclaim property of Lawrence Fox, and also, like, because the banks always say, they're politically exposed people. There's a Reverend, I think Richard Fothergill he's called, and he just asked, why you got these, like, transgender flags? Is Blair White going to turn up and give me a blowjob, man? He just said that to his bank, so his bank will allow him to ask those questions and cancel his account. He's not a politically exposed person, he's just asking a question about these flags. So, man, it's ridiculous. And the thing that they put around Coots is, like, so Nigel Farage made a data subject access request, which is sort of like a freedom of information request, but you can do it for an organisation that holds your personal information. And so they had to scan all the documents, pass them through paralegals and lawyers and stuff to redact anything that could identify somebody else, and then give it to you. And it's a really serious crime if they try and hide anything or destroy anything. So all these other, there was 40 pages that they handed to Nigel Farage, and it revealed they'd been spying on his social media, making all sorts of disparaging comments about him, calling him a disingenuous grifter and a racist and all the rest of it. So all the other Coots clients, they're all high net worth individuals, they're going like, what the fuck are these motherfuckers saying about me? Also, they've got loads of money, loads of time in their hands, and very good lawyers, so they're going to sue if they find anything that's out of order, if they've been disparaged in meetings and slandered or whatever.
Well, there's every chance we could both be debanked after the show tonight. I work for a bank.
Yeah.
What do I work for?
Lloyd's.
I'm alright then. I'm not yeah. And anyone from RBS? I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty fucking dark stuff, isn't it? There's so much of it going on.
Oh yeah, I couldn't believe all these comedians like Rosie Holt. She takes the piss out of politicians and stuff.
Yeah.
Darryl O'Brien, all these comedians came out on the side of the banks. It's like, are you fucking mad? If a regime gets into power, silence comedians. Like usually when the Taliban go into power again, the first thing they did was kill that comedian.
What a turnaround for comedians to be fucking sticking up for the establishment, for the bankers, yeah. The bankers are alive. Punch up, don't punch. Comedians. Well, they're of a sort. It's a very strange. Like every other art form, it's dominated by a culture of fear, so not many people telling jokes anymore because they're frightened they'll end up like Farage with no fucking bank accounts. That's the direction I'm going in, but luckily for me I always get cash in hand, so I'll be We'll see. A part of this gig, as it was advertised, we're going to have a bit of a chat, and then we're going to throw it open to questions from the audience. I don't know if anyone have any questions about anything, but you're welcome to fire them out at us and see what shit we come up with. If you've got anything you'd like to ask for anything, they want to get off their chest.
Somebody down here's got their hand up.
Andrew, where's Keith?
Where's Keith? For those of you who don't know what he's on about, I did a character during the pandemic. I did videos of a character called Keith Comes About. Saying a lot of stuff that I didn't think I'd get away with saying myself. But in the end, I thought, fuck it, might as well just say myself, and consequently I was cancelled. for 2 years. Fuck it, it's a bad idea. Yeah, I did. So some of you might have come expecting to see some of those characters that I did during the pandemic. In which case, you're sorely out of luck. I've not done them for a long time. There's some very good things to do during the pandemic, and then as soon as that was over, and that fucking crazy, almost unbelievable time we all lived through, as soon as it came to an end, I thought, what the fuck am I doing this for? Dressing up in this stupid fucking at me someone. For me, it was all tied in and linked into the general fuckery of COVID, and just thankful that that's the only fucking mental breakdown I've had to pretending to be other people and making little fucking costumes for them. I've got a time on my hands. I might go back to it. It was quite fun. We'll see. But for the time being, I'm not doing it. So if anyone wants a refund because I haven't done a cat this year, you can go fuck yourselves. It was just advertised as me, and that was it. Thank you for. Is anyone else aware of these characters? Bits of Barry as well. Barry Pieface, well, pretending to be a fat bastard. It's all very sophisticated. Have you ever been tempted to do any character comedy?
I'm actually a Welshman. I used to do this show called Pun Man. So I dressed up.
You did puns.
Improvised puns. I was the UK pun champion in 2004.
There's a competition at the Leicester Comedy Festival to find out the best pun comedian.
Yeah, which is sort of like finding out the best smelling shit. I dressed up in spandex and I had a cape and I had big bushy eyebrows and I'd do an hour of improvised puns and it was horrible. Like it was just it was like, because if you're doing a sort of stand up that you know where you're going and stuff, it's alright, but improvised puns, fuck me, my head was like,
Was it at the same time as you were doing stand up, or was it something you started out doing that and then you thought,
I started out doing it and then I thought, what am I doing?
Not for me.
I looked at myself in the spandex and I was like,
it's still an award. It's still won something. Yeah. Anyone else who won something?
I started doing more political stuff and that didn't so I'd be dressed as Pun Man talking about Brexit.
Good to win something though. Have you won something over there? Yeah,
do you think with all this woke stuff that's going on at the moment that we've actually got any hope for the future?
All this woke stuff, have we got any hope?
For the future.
For the future?
No, we're fucked.
Well, this is going to drag this gig into a depression.
No, I think Keir Starmer or Labour are getting the next year now.
Do you think they're getting in? I think it's home parliament now. Or do you think it's going to be later?
No, I think they'll waltz in. I think it'll be quite easy. I mean, I'm hoping so anyway. It'll be great for me.
Frightening prospect, perhaps. Anyone going to vote Labour? It's just nice to watch the fucking world burn, isn't it? I like to think that this is just a phase we're going through. The world is going to turn, culturally at least. There'll be an end to all this fucking censorship and nonsense.
Eat the bugs.
It's the what?
Eat the bugs.
Eat the bugs. Well, I don't think anyone's going to go along with that. Although,
I think some of the stuff that's going to end it, so ESG and EDI, so ESG is basically pushing all of it, so so much money is thrown into ESG investing, and so that people have had to implement like equality, diversity and inclusion and do all this stuff to get access to that funding and get preferential rates in that funding, so that's really pushing it, but now people are pulling the money out of ESG and the whole thing's starting to fall apart, like Coutts the classic example of actually really damaging a business. And pension funds and stuff are starting to get sued by the people because they're saying you're supposed to invest my money to get the best return, not to fucking try and fucking make Greta Thunberg happy. So once that starts crumbling and the peak sort of over with ESG, I think it's gonna you're seeing companies that go woke is really starting to hurt them now. Like Bud Light, man, they lost $27 billion off their market value. And back to number one beer. Also, Wix. Wix, man, like.
Well, Wix had a good reputation, to be fair. I did a corporate gig for the DIY industry on Christmas where you hand out awards to the DIY industry, and I had to go around the audience and making fun of various DIY people, make jokes about B&Q, mild chuckle, hilarious, and a slight titter. And then the moment you mention Wix, the whole room was Wix. So it does feel like we've hit some sort of milestone with this Coots. This Coots debacle, that there's going to be a real climb down of that sort of thing, because it's a powerful business. But there again, they were doing it to lower profile people for so long, and they were arrogant enough to think they were in a position to do it to someone of a higher profile, and they miscalculated. It's better kept. They kept doing it to people like you or I, or people in the audience. They would have been fine, and they can probably still keep doing it. But it's
and all the stuff they say is the complete opposite of what they do. They talk about diversity, inclusion, and tolerance, and man, they don't tolerate anything. You've got to be within this narrow band of opinions. I think inclusivity, like when I was cancelled from a venue at the Perth Fringe in Australia, they literally turned around to me and said, "This is an inclusive space. You have to leave."
I don't know, but that's I had a full 40-day tour cancelled, as I talked about in the first half a little bit, and Larry was one of the only people after that, one of the only comics to get in touch after that happened to me to say, "Oh, are you all right? This is ridiculous," and another one was.
I was trying to find out where his gigs had been.
He did get a few of those gigs, but also he gave an interview to The Sun, I think, saying comedian takes on Andrew Lawrence's cancelled gigs, and he said, "I think it's disgusting what Andrew Lawrence posted on Twitter, and if I can do my bit to put on a night of entertainment venue because he's let people down, then..." Oh Christ, I can't remember it. If I can remember it.
How do you not remember your number one nemesis?
That's probably why I have no animosity towards him, because he's a bit fucking shit. Any more questions, anybody?
How about, like all the temperature fucking graphs with their red and their green and all this how about we have the lies that politicians done in red and green? I don't think anyone's going to run out of green ink anytime soon.
Good section for GB News. The lies that politicians tell, it's all outlined on. Difficult to. Might be a legal matter though. Might be the lawyers might have a problem with it. Can we really accuse these people of telling lies? But it's terribly hot though. You must agree that it's been all burning, and it's been a brutal summer for us all. Surprised we haven't all caught fire at this point. It's terribly worrying. I'm so worried about the global warming and everything heating up, and good luck to the Just Stop Oil people, because quite clearly they're doing tremendous work and saving us all from oblivion.
they're another example of like one of these things that's just driven by dodgy money. So they're followed by Dale Vince, who's the owner of Ecotricity, which is a big like green energy company, and he's worth over £100 million himself. So he pays Just Stop Oil to push this agenda that makes them rich. It makes it seem like people really want to change. They really want lots of subsidies for wind power, and they want gas and oil to be shut down, which makes it's basically the mafia paying a gang to go and smash up a rival restaurant. It's the same sort of technique. He pays the Labour Party as well. Under the last Labour government, he got £36 million in subsidies, or his company did. So man, when these people give out money, you might be thinking, he's giving a lot of money to the Labour Party. He's getting way more back in taxpayer money.
Yeah.
It's all money, man. Like Just Stop Oil, they're not. Like Dale Vince isn't doing it to make the world a better place. I really think he is, but it's also making him a lot richer.
Yeah, it's an ego thing as well. I see him doing interviews. It's the sort of the common ailment just blowing up to fucking massive proportions. And I'm a virtuous person. Look how good I am. Yeah. Look how what a decent human being I am. Please just admit that I'm just a nice guy. I'm kind. I'm being kind. Why can't other people be kind? What's wrong? Why isn't there more kindness in the world? Kindness, that will solve everything. Just be kind.
Yeah. It worked in under every communist regime, which is about sort of nationalising kindness. Perfect utopia.
Well, we've both experienced a tremendous amount of kindness from the council contests and in comedy and the comedy industry in general. I feel like we should start to wrap this up because we're running out of steam. Let's be honest with ourselves. I've misjudged it. Fuck it, lock the doors. Wait for half an hour. I think we'll start to wrap things up, and then I'll be down in the cafe stroke bar downstairs for a little while, and the bar's still open if you want to have a drink. So stick around if you feel like it, and go with your lives, still on, be happy, enjoy yourselves, try not to be degenerate, careful what you put on Twitter. Don't fucking be trying to steal this by mistake.